right, so I just wanted to kind of bring you back in. So it's great to see you again. Last week was really great. Just want to remind you again of confidentiality and mandated reporting. I know we've talked about this quite a bit, but it's a really important part of the therapy process. So one thing I thought we'd talk about today is I really want to know about a time that was going really well. So like a time in your life or like a situation that you just felt like was going really well, you felt really positive. You know what I mean? Can you imagine the time? Can you share that with me?
Yeah, I think that the most fulfilling part of my life was when my kids were younger.
Okay.
And just like raising my kids and making sure that they got places on time and going to their games and being involved in like parent-teacher stuff and parent-coach stuff, and just like that was just a big bulk of my life.
Yeah.
And I liked that.
Okay. So right now you said that I think you mentioned to me you work like part-time, like 5-ish hours a day.
Yeah.
Okay. Your husband's the full-time, like breadwinner, if you will.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. And your kids were living with you, but now they're off in college, correct?
They just moved to college.
To their university, okay.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you went from this really busy lifestyle of taking them to school and to sports and to like the parent-teacher type activities to really having just like an empty house. It's not like what it used to be. So in that time when you were busy with them, like it seems like your strengths and like you focused a lot on like being busy, being on time, being involved. You found meaning in like helping others and being like actively participating in people's lives, and like it wasn't really about your personal like involvement in the sports and stuff. It was like helping your children be involved. Okay. And now that's kind of gone.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like being a mother was the most important part of my life.
Okay.
And now that they're gone, I just kind of don't know what to do really.
Yeah. So some of those strengths that you had during that time and like what fueled your positivity was like the structure, the scheduling, and like having to be somewhere and having to, participate and having like people that relied on you for things. So I'm wondering like what are some of the things that you could do now that would kind of like replicate that time? So like you say you work 5 hours a week or 5 hours a day, and the rest of the day you're kind of just like nothing's going on.
Yeah.
Can you think of some things that you could maybe fill your day with that would kind of like mimic that time where you were doing really well and you were positive and feeling well? Like what are some things that you could do?
And I mean, lately I've been sleeping in a little later because I don't go to work until later, but a girlfriend of mine does a yoga class in the mornings.
Okay.
And I could go to that. I mean, I could certainly join the gym or do some cooking classes or just volunteering. But it's just like the act of doing it, I guess.
Yeah. Well, and I'm sure like you used to have like probably had an alarm set every day, right? You were getting up at 6 o'clock to make sure your kids were up, getting them to school. I know some schools nowadays even have practice before school, so sometimes it's even like getting your kid up and moving. So I could see definitely like setting that alarm for that yoga class can like kind of practice that same like schedule setting and things. And I think it's easy to say like to say it and like I'm gonna do that, but like you said, the activity of actually doing it is difficult. But can you also see like once you actually do it, the positives that could come from it?
I mean, some of it is the fact that I miss my kids, but a lot of it is just like I don't know what to do with my time, and I have a lot of free time.
Right.
And I was in and out of the house all day pretty much. I wasn't just like sitting still. So it's just like learning how to fill my time, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
Instead of wasting it in bed.
Yeah, and I think that would be great for, like you said, like I know your depression is higher right now, which can definitely be because of isolation and because you don't have that energy, and it's always one of those things too, like even like diet and things, like it doesn't start to feel good until you start to do it.
Right.
So like you can you can goal set and be like, I'm gonna do this, this, and this, but until you do them, you don't reap those benefits.
Right.
So I think a great goal for like the end from this week until our next session would be setting that alarm at 6 a.m. and getting to that yoga class. And I really would like to know how you feel like for the next 7 days, like getting up and getting there. Like, tell me how that feels next week, because I think if we start with those little steps and then we can start to build a more, structured schedule that you find more happiness in. It brings you more like joy and it really reduces your depression.
Yeah, basically just not isolating is a big thing.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's awesome too that you're aware of that and can name it, because sometimes we don't know what's causing us to be upset, but like you are having that awareness that like if you isolate, your depression is going to get worse. That's a great thing to know, and then it's hard to combat it, but it's also like it's harder to combat something you don't know what you're fighting against, but like it's easier if you know what you're up against. So that's great. All right.